Hello students, we're going to cover some basic cash transactions in MYOB. Should be a fairly short video. So we've got two transactions here. On the 1st of June 12, we purchased $20 of spring water and we're going to sell that to customers later on. We're told to use account 5-1200 and there's GST on it, of course. A few days later, on the 5th of June, a customer named John came into our store and purchased $50 of spring water. So we're going to cover in MYOB how to enter these. Now, anything to do with a cash transaction, so if cash is changing hands, I want you to start associating the word cash with the banking command center here. So for this first one, we're spending cash. So then from there, all you need to do is see that there's a word spend over here, and it should be fairly common sense which option to choose. So I'm going to choose spend money. Okay, so we purchased $20 of stock spring water. Now, we're not told how we paid for it, but in MYOB, you've got two options at the top here. One of them is pay from account, the general check account, and underneath that is group with electronic payments. We're not going to be covering electronic payments, so when you're spending money, it will always be this top option, pay from account. Now, if there's multiple bank accounts, you can choose which one you want to spend money from, but we're just going to use the standard check account for this transaction. So we've got to check the date, make sure that's the 1st of June 2012. The amount we're told is $20, so I'll put that in. And for the memo, just put in something that is representative of the transaction. So in this case, we're going to do purchase of stock. Now you do have a card field up here, which I haven't filled in, and that was intentional. When you're spending or receiving cash, you don't need to put anything in the card field. Some businesses like to, so we might choose something like cash purchases card and say okay to that warning, but you don't need to, and that's actually got rid of the memo. So I'm going to get rid of that and then put this back to purchase of stock. All right, so the account number we're going to use, we're told is 5-1200. And that's the water cost of sales account. And it's $20, that's automatically been put in there. And the last thing that I haven't put in yet is the tax code, which is GST. So that just goes here. Now, so long as this out of balance is 0, we've completed the transaction and I can go ahead and click record. And that's done. That's now in our books as if we've actually spent that money. So it didn't take too long. We're just going to look at the flip side very briefly now, and that's receiving cash. So it's a cash transaction, which means we go to the banking command center, and then it's just a matter of choosing whichever option makes sense. Now, if we're receiving cash, that's obviously going to be receive money. There's an extra decision to be made when you're receiving money compared to when you're spending money, and that's whether or not the money was deposited directly into the bank account, or if we got given cash and we're going to deposit it later on. Now, I'm going to assume, because we're not specifically told, that he paid cash, which means I've got to choose this option, group with undeposited funds. So your undeposited funds are pretty much what's in your till. So if someone comes in and pays something with cash, you put it in the till, and then it's good accounting practice to, at the end of the day, take that money and deposit it into the bank then. So we'll fill out the date, 5th of June 12, amount received, $50. The payment method, I said we're assuming it's going to be cash. And we sold spring water. We're told to use account 4-1100. So if I find that, I can type it in here. There it is. Sales spring water, that seems to make sense. And it's already put the GST tag on it for us. So that's pretty much it. I can record that now. So that's very quickly just how to process spending and receiving cash in MYOB.